Moonstruck. Hey, yeah, let's talk about it. A big moon in the sky, people fall in love with people that aren't their wives or husbands. Boom. We're done. Goodbye, everyone. I'm kidding. It's Moonstruck time. Yeah, Norman Jewison passed away recently. I love him. He's such an interesting guy with really interesting filmography. And this is it the most notable? Probably, right? Like, people still talk about this. They still reference this movie. It's definitely inspired a lot of, like, modern filmmakers just to, like, make stuff where people just talk and exist. And that's cool. That's a fun vibe. And you know what? It's been a while since I've seen this one. I'm a big fan of Cher. I've always loved Cher. Not just her music, but her acting, her very specific, very temporary acting career where she is very selective. I love her, and this performance always spoke to me. So I figured it's time again to watch this movie. That is just the best. Because it's just one of those vibes movies where you just have to go along with the specific vibe that's going on. Is it trying to be a romantic film where there's like this sweeping era of romance? Kind of. But also it's just a goofy comedy where people are like, why are you getting married again? What's the point of that? What are you going to do when you're married? What the hell? You know, what is any of that shit? I respect it for that. Because we follow our main character, Loretta. She is played by Cher. She is the most beautiful woman to ever exist and will ever exist. I have a massive crush on Cher. Let's just get that out of the way right now. I have for most of my life. Every time I see her, I'm just like, yep, that hasn't gone away. And this movie's just like peak beautiful Cher. She even has like a transformation where it's like, what if she let her hair down, dyed it a little bit, and she put on makeup, and suddenly Cher looks like Cher. You're like, yeah, of course she does. But she's a widowed woman. Her husband died because he was hit by a bus. She's been seeing this other guy. His name is Johnny, and Johnny is wanting to propose, but because she just kind of went to the court last time, they didn't have like a big ceremony. She's like, if we're going to do this, you got to do it properly. You got to get down on a knee. You got to give me a ring. And they're doing this at like a restaurant where it's very public, and he doesn't want to get down on the knee because he's wearing nice pants, and he doesn't have a ring, so he uses his pinky ring. And she's like, okay, I'll marry you. And then she starts to tell her family about it. And her family's like, why are you getting married again? It didn't work for you the first time. Yeah, because the guy died. Her dad's like, I'm not paying for this. I don't want to pay for this. It's awesome. It's just really awesome stuff. And suddenly you see that Johnny's mother gets sick, so he has to go back to their home in Italy and help her. But he's like, can you talk to my brother, Ronnie, who lives here, and invite him to the wedding? So that is what she's going to do. And that leads to her having an affair with Ronnie. Which, let's just get into it. We'll talk about the other side stories in a minute here. We're introduced to Nicolas Cage. Now, Nicolas Cage in this film is playing a guy who is ambiguous in age. He's younger than his brother, but I think he's playing older because Cher's playing younger. The truth of the matter is, there isn't a single person in this film that is playing their age except for the guy that's like 85. Everyone else is either playing older than they are or younger than they are, because Cher is 41 when she makes this movie. She's playing someone who is 37. Nicolas Cage is 23. He's clearly playing someone a little bit older because he's got that tough and big face energy to him. And then her parents, I don't know how old they're saying Dukakis is playing, but she wasn't like in her 70s. Maybe she's playing 70s to 60s. I'm pretty sure she was in her late 50s in this. I'm not sure what they're saying, but you know what I mean. It's crazy the ages everyone is playing. And we have to go to a bakery because we got to go talk to Ronnie, and we're introduced to Ronnie in the most beautiful sequence ever. Nicolas Cage just shoveling a bunch of stuff into a fire. He's sweaty. He's got that big head. It's weird to think that Nicolas Cage was younger than me when he made this movie because I just always picture him as this old gentleman. But it's crazy. So Cher shows up, and she's like, what's the matter with you? I'm trying to get you to come to your brother's wedding. And he's like, he's no brother of mine. The Nicolas Cage thing is formed from the beginning. He's doing the thing right at the beginning. He also is mad at his brother because he got distracted while he was slicing some stuff and cut off his fingers, so he blames his brother for that accident. Cher's like, "That you can't blame your brother for that. What the hell? I'm sorry, I keep trying to do the New York thing." I was like, oh, so it's so good. But it leads to them arguing, and then it leads to them sleeping together because he's a wolf and she's attracted to wolves, and she's like a beast who likes, her own control and stuff. And it leads to them sleeping together, and she's like, "I made a big mistake." And he's like, "You didn't. I'm in love with you." And she does the snap out of it. It's amazing. It is truly amazing. I love it so much. And there's like, "Why don't we just go to the opera one night? You come with me to the opera. We see how it goes, and we'll do that." So she has to get a glow up where Cher goes from just a normal looking girl to looking like Cher, like she now looks like Cher. And you're just like, yeah, this is a very realistic transformation. This is how I see her looking more than just like this normal woman, So that's that. Meanwhile, that's one of the stories going on. There's kind of like 3 other subplots. The first one we'll talk about is the old man, her grandfather, who's like this 80-year-old man who has like 5 dogs. He wants to howl at the moon with his dogs because that's his love. He lost his wife. He's going to go howl with his dogs. There's one plot. Her father, Cher's father, played by Vincent Gardenia. He is Cosmo, and Cosmo is having an affair on his wife. He's dating this like nice lady, age appropriate, which is really nice to see because we play with like that in a little bit here. And we see he's like, I'm going to go in public with her. I don't know how people are going to react to that. I'm going to go to places where I'm not going to see like my local friends or my family. And they go to the opera too. So Cher runs into her daddy having an affair while she's having an affair. Boom. That's family drama for you. Very relatable. As this is going on, Olympia Dukakis is aware that her husband is cheating on her and that her daughter is doing something crazy. So she's like, I just need to get out of the house. Get away for a bit, figure my shit out. She goes to a diner where she meets another supporting character. This is John Mahoney, who will later go on to be the father to the Crane boys in Frasier. And now I knew that going in. I love me some John Mahoney. He's like a ladies' man. He's a college professor that's taking his students out on dates. And you're like, oh, I guess it is 87. Still seems too late to be doing that, but he's an old generation guy. And that leads to the first real time we see Olympia Dukakis ask the question, why do men chase girls? And he's like, I don't know, maybe it's because I see myself in a young woman. You're like, shut up, that's stupid. That's not a reason why you chase girls. I think it's because they're afraid of death. And I'm like, that's a great question. So I'll pose it to the audience. Why do men chase girls? Now, look, I like ladies. Can't say I'm a famous person for chasing ladies, but I would say it's because men are children and they are desperate for attention. If they can look cool, even for a minute for one lady, it's worth everything to them. That's what I'll say. It's all about making yourself look cooler than you actually are, which I can't disagree with my own assessment there because that's probably pretty damn accurate. But this leads to Mahoney and Dukakis going for a walk, and he's like, your husband's not home, and I got a nice apartment, and it's getting kind of chilly. And she's like, I'm too old for you. And that girl you were with earlier, she's too young for you. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, because in Frasier, he's playing somebody in like his late 60s, early 70s, and that's only a few years from this. Let's say 7 years from this. So he's maybe 60. How old is Dukakis playing? Because I know she's not 60 at the time of this filming. Very strange. It's very strange, the ages and all that stuff. But I guess that's the point. It doesn't matter. So I love that side story. I think that one's really fun. Dukakis is so good in this movie. She's so awesome. When Johnny shows up early because the mom made a recovery and she asked him the question, why do men chase girls? He's like, I don't know. Because they're going to die? Yeah, probably. Yeah, just agree with her. It's great. But you see Cher is slowly starting to fall in love with this Ronnie guy. And Ronnie is just... he's cool. I really dig the specific vibe that we see Cage is going for in this movie. Now, it's not perfect. It's not a fully, realized actor yet. But the idea of his identity is fully formed. And that's pretty cool to see. And, the end of their show where they leave the play and she's distraught, he's like, look, I know why you came with me. I know why we're doing all of this. So why don't you just come upstairs? We'll go to bed and it'll be okay. Like, I know you want to. Let's just do it. So she does. She goes with him. And she's not forced into it, which is important. She chooses to do that because she'd rather be with somebody she loves than just be married for the sake of being married, which is it's great to see. I should also point out that there is a scene, because it's called Moonstruck. It is about a moon that Rose, who is Olympia Dukakis, her brother, he tells this story at a family dinner one time about, like, when Cosmo was first dating his sister and how, like, he saw this huge moon in the sky and he was, like, really interested, like, how did that happen? Did Cosmo bring the moon down for my sister? Like, it's crazy. Then everybody who's a character sees this beautiful moon and they start to get really horny because of it. And you're like, yeah, we do. Yes, horny movie time. I love it. Man, it's great. There's just a sequence, like, kind of the Wakashami for Loretta when she's, like, walking home. She's kicking a can across the street. And I'm just like, look at this beautiful woman. Even when she's supposed to look terrible, she looks amazing. You can't hate her. You can't disrespect her in any capacity. She is so gorgeous. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. And then we have, like, this big sequence happen where everyone kind of, like, comes back to, like, their household. So Loretta's kind of caught because Ronnie shows up. And Cosmo was caught because his wife already knew. And the old man's just trying to have his breakfast. And then Johnny shows up. And then the aunt and uncle show up. And everyone's just, like, showing up to this location. We're all just eating oatmeal. And everyone's just admitting, like, the things that are happening. And Johnny's like, Loretta, I can't marry you. Marrying you, saying I was going to marry you saved my mom. So if I marry you, it's going to kill her. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then Ronnie's like, fine, I'll marry her. Loretta, will you marry me? And you're like, yes, please. And she's like, yeah, okay. Using the same ring that Johnny used. It's so good. Like, it is a comedy that's specific, just like, you know, we're in New York. Everyone's talking a certain way. Everyone has a certain vibe going for them. That's what we're doing here, you know? I really love it. I know it's not for everybody, but this vibe of just, like, these people in love, they're going to the opera, they're all cheating on each other, but they're decent people who love the people in their lives. They're, like, a really disjointed family. It's just really cool to see. And at the center of it is just Cher showing you she can do anything and is capable of doing everything. Gorgeous woman. I'm sorry, I'll keep saying it. But it's so much fun. And I just love the idea of, like, love in the air and people being like, oh, you love him? Why are you marrying a guy you love? They're only going to break your heart. Like, yeah. This is a great team. I love everyone involved in this. Moonstruck rocks. If you have not seen it and you're a young person, you haven't seen it. We used to make movies like this all the time. We rarely make them like this now. They're just straight to streaming and they don't have the same feel. We don't have the same colors. Just the backdrops and the moonlight. We wouldn't make anything look like this today. And it's just so telling that we haven't. Because it's just so cool looking. And hey, snap out of it. Why do men chase girls? Because they're going to die. So that is going to do it for this episode of Romantic Tales. No, thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will see you in the next one. So have fun, folks. Stay safe, folks. And good luck.